Ahmed Al-Manhali, a United Arab Emirates citizen, traveled to Avon, Ohio in June 2016 for medical treatment at the Cleveland Clinic. Upon arrival at the Fairland Inn and Suites, he was informed that the hotel was fully booked due to the Republican National Convention. Ahmed politely requested alternative accommodation options. While waiting in the lobby, a SWAT-style response occurred, with Avon officers arriving and detaining Ahmed, who was simply walking out of the hotel while on his phone.
On the ground, no! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Down! On the ground, do it now!
Get on your car.
Down!
Confused by the situation, Ahmed questioned the officers, but they handcuffed and searched him, damaging his phone in the process. They found a second phone, which Ahmed used for business purposes.
Take the phone away! Cover the entrance, help me get back.
What is it?
Go down there.
What happened?
Despite no evidence of wrongdoing, the officers treated Ahmed as a terrorist, disregarding any investigation or backstory. Simultaneously, an officer spoke to the hotel receptionist who had made a 911 call, falsely claiming Ahmed had pledged allegiance to ISIS. The officer soon realized it was a false alarm and called off the search. Meanwhile, Ahmed collapsed and passed out, prompting paramedics to administer aid and to take him to a nearby hospital. The incident gained international attention, leading to the United Arab Emirates Ministry of Foreign Affairs to demand an apology from Avon officials. The mayor and police chief apologized to Ahmed, emphasizing that the incident did not reflect their community's values. Marriott International, the hotel's owner, expressed regret and committed to training to prevent similar occurrences.
You should not have been put in that situation like you were.
There were some false accusations made against you, and those are regrettable.
Mayor
Jensen said in a statement, "This was a very unfortunate incident and does not reflect our community. Avon is proud to welcome visitors from the United Arab Emirates and other countries who regularly come to Northern Ohio for tourism, business, medical care, or education."
The settlement aimed to compensate Ahmed for physical, psychological, and financial damages. However, he still faced lasting emotional distress, was haunted by the officer's eyes, and experienced sleep disturbances. The incident highlighted the need for improved cultural understanding and sensitivity among law enforcement personnel. Here we have Brian Filipiak, a 47-year-old Washtenaw County Sheriff's Lieutenant, who was off duty when he got pulled over. Deputy Morrison, after stopping Lieutenant Filipiak, informed him about the reason for the traffic stop. Subsequently, Deputy Morrison inquired if Lieutenant Filipiak had consumed any alcoholic beverages that afternoon. In response, Lieutenant Filipiak acknowledged that he had indeed consumed a couple drinks. After Deputy Morrison confirmed Lieutenant Filipiak's identity, he returned to his vehicle and instructed the lieutenant to exit the truck for a field sobriety test. The purpose of the test was to assess whether Lieutenant Filipiak had consumed an excessive amount of alcohol, despite it being evident he was clearly unfit to drive. Exhibiting evident signs of severe intoxication, such as slurred speech and watery eyes, Lieutenant Filipiak left no room for doubt that he was heavily under the influence.
Okay, you got your ID?
However, despite this clear indication, Lieutenant Filipiak adamantly refused to comply with Deputy Morrison's request to step out of the vehicle. Instead, he insisted that Deputy Morrison should either allow him to return home or let him sleep it off on the side of the road. In response, Deputy Morrison firmly informed Lieutenant Filipiak that his options were limited and made it clear that he would not allow him to be released in his current condition.
Multiple reckless driving calls about you. Okay? And then when I'm following you, you're hitting the shoulder of the road. You been drinking? How many?
Just a couple.
Okay. Where are you reaching in the back for? I seen you reaching in the back. You have an open container back there? Okay, you been drinking on the way here? Got your registration, proof of insurance? Do you have a firearm on you? Okay. Do you got your pistol? Are you a corrections officer or just deputy? Lieutenant? Okay.
Despite Deputy Morrison's persistent attempts to persuade Lieutenant Filipiak to exit the vehicle, the latter remained adamant in his repeated request to be released. He proceeded to assert that Deputy Morrison's job would not be jeopardized if he let the situation slide, emphasizing the potential consequences for himself if the matter were pursued.
Brian, I'm going to have you step out of the car. I'm going to do a field sobriety test for you. Okay?
However, Deputy Morrison understood that ignoring the incident would not only lead to his termination, but also result in misdemeanor charges carrying a penalty of up to 1 year of imprisonment or a fine of $1,000. Deputy Morrison was fully aware of the extent of Lieutenant Filipiak's intoxication, as he had allegedly observed the lieutenant discarding open containers in the back seat during the traffic stop.
I'm going to ask you to step out of the vehicle. What would you like me to do?
Just let me.
I can't. I had multiple phone calls. You'd be in the same situation if I was in the vehicle in your county, correct?
All right, just let me stay here.
You can't. I'm going to ask you nicely to step out of this vehicle. Brian, my hands are tied. If I let you go, I'm going to lose my career over you. You don't think I wouldn't?
No.
This is northern Michigan. We're a small department. Okay, I'm going to ask you nicely to step out of the vehicle. You know I have my job to do. You know that.
Yeah, and I just want you to.
And I understand your point, your position. Okay, I'm trying to be as cooperative and nice to you as I can.
Despite Deputy Morrison's continuous efforts in trying to have Lieutenant Filipiak step out of the vehicle,
after nearly 5 minutes of persistent requests for Lieutenant Filipiak to exit the vehicle,
just let me go.
I can't let you go. We're way past that point. You know this. You're a lieutenant. You know how this works.
Yeah, I do.
You would tell one of your deputies if they called you right on the side of the road.
No,
and they asked you what to do.
Like it goes
So, if one of your deputies is in the position as I am right now, calling you as a lieutenant, Lieutenant, this is what I got. What should I do? You're just going to say let him go?
This point,
Why?
just
Just because. You're intoxicated. I know it. You've opened alcohol in the vehicle that you passed back. I know it. You know it. Can't have been gotten. Ryan, out of this vehicle. I'm asking you nicely. I don't want to see anything worse happen. Okay?
no, just
Deputy Morrison, having reached the limits of his patience, opened the door and firmly instructed the lieutenant to step out, avoiding any need for further escalation. Deputy Morrison proceeded to inform Lieutenant Filipiak that he would be arrested for refusal to comply if he persisted in refusing to exit the vehicle. RNO, an abbreviation for resisting and obstructing a police officer, is a felony offense that carries a penalty of up to 2 years of imprisonment, a fine of $2,000, or both. After an additional 5 minutes had passed, Deputy Morrison cautioned Lieutenant Filipiak that he would be tased if he continued to resist compliance with his instructions. Consequently, Deputy Morrison retrieved his taser and aimed it at the lieutenant, while firmly warning him that failure to comply would result in being tased. Deputy Morrison even considered using the backup taser at that moment. In this situation, Deputy Morrison possessed the authority to employ his taser and would not have faced repercussions for doing so. Fortunately, the threat of being tased successfully persuaded Lieutenant Filipiak to finally exit the vehicle. As anticipated, Deputy Morrison did not tolerate Lieutenant Filipiak's resistance, instructed Lieutenant Filipiak to occupy the back seat of his patrol car, intending to transport him to the police station. Despite Deputy Morrison's clear directive to sit in the car, Lieutenant Filipiak persisted in his refusal, stating, "I am who you guys are. Do you guys realize that?" This remark strongly indicated that Lieutenant Filipiak was attempting to exploit his position of authority, seeking a preferential treatment based on his status.
Alright, we're done with this.
hold on.
Talk to me. Yes or no? Are you doing field sobriety tests?
All right. So if this was the other situation,
Lieutenant Filipiak clearly held the belief that he was exempt from abiding by the law. However, the officers present at the scene were determined to make it evident that such was not the case. Following some further struggle, they managed to successfully place Lieutenant Filipiak inside the patrol car.
I'm not resisting, but let's stop.
You're
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Okay.
We've talked. I don't want to put you on the ground.
No,
I don't want to make this worse.
All right, I will just sleep it off.
Dude, stop it right now. You know? Stop it.
Allowing for his transportation to the police station where he would face the consequences of his actions. Subsequent breath tests conducted at the police station revealed that Filipiak's blood alcohol level registered at 0.28 and 0.27%. For context, the legal limit for operating a motor vehicle in the United States is a mere 0.08%.
What happens? We're going to take you to the jail and ask for a data master. And if you refuse that, we're going to get a search warrant for your blood. Brian, have a seat.
Stop, guys. Hold on.
Therefore, Lieutenant Filipiak's blood alcohol concentration was over 3 times the legal limit, subjecting him to Michigan State's super drunk law, which carries penalties of up to 180 days in jail, fines of up to $700, and up to 360 hours of community service. So it's time to watch our next case. On July 26, 2021, the Orangeburg Department of Public Safety received a distress call from a female resident of Colton Village Townhomes in Orangeburg, South Carolina. The caller reported that a man was vigorously banging on her door and window, attempting to gain entry. Furthermore, she alleged that the man possessed a firearm tucked into the waistband of his jean shorts. In response, dispatch promptly directed all officers in the vicinity to respond without delay. Officer David Lance Dukes arrived as the first responder at the scene. With his firearm drawn, Officer Dukes exited his patrol car and proceeded to instruct a 58-year-old disabled man, along with his cousin DeMario Julian, to immediately lie on the ground. At this juncture, it was evident from the body camera footage that Mr. Gillard was complying with Officer Dukes' commands. The recording captured Mr. Gillard raising his hands in the air and proceeding to lower himself onto his hands and knees as directed by the officer. However, before Mr. Gillard could fully assume the prone position on the ground, Officer Dukes unexpectedly and forcefully stomped on Mr. Gillard's neck. The impact caused Mr. Gillard's head to forcefully strike the pavement, resulting in a bruised forehead. Subsequent investigations revealed that Mr. Gillard's delay in complying was due to the presence of metal rods and pins in his leg and hip as a result of a previous injury. Following the aggressive act, Officer Dukes promptly restrained Mr. Gillard by placing him in handcuffs. Immediately afterward, Officer Dukes informed a second officer at the scene that there should be a gun behind Mr. Gillard, suggesting that Mr. Gillard had allegedly left a firearm behind the white SUV where he had been positioned prior to the confrontation.
There's a gun behind me. There's a gun, I believe, behind me.
I ain't got no gun there.
Mr. Gillard assured Officer Dukes that there was no gun present, and upon a quick examination, the second officer confirmed the absence of any firearm. Officer Dukes proceeded to conduct a search of Mr. Gillard's person, accusing him of failing to comply with orders. However, as evident in the earlier body camera footage, Mr. Gillard had been complying with Officer Dukes' commands from the beginning. Not once did Mr. Gillard exhibit any behavior that could be perceived as a threat, thereby negating Officer Dukes' justification for excusing excessive force against him. Once Officer Dukes ensured that Mr. Gillard did not possess a firearm, he decided to search the vicinity of the SUV himself in hopes of locating the alleged weapon. It swiftly became apparent that there was no gun to be found. Instead, it was discovered that Mr. Gillard had been carrying a stick wrapped in shiny silver tape, which he typically used as protection against aggressive stray dogs. Officer Dukes and the second officer helped Mr. Gillard back up onto his feet, at which point he began expressing his dissatisfaction regarding the unnecessary impact of his head on the concrete. The visible injury to Mr. Gillard's forehead, marked by a bruise and swelling, further supported his claim. In response to Mr. Gillard's confrontation regarding the incident, Officer Dukes provided a reply. At this point, it became apparent that Mr. Gillard was in need of medical attention. However, neither of the officers present on the scene initially took this into consideration. Fortunately, Officer Queenie Polidor arrived and promptly recognized the necessity for emergency medical services, requesting EMS assistance. As Mr. Gillard continued to express his grievances regarding the incident, Officer Dukes approached Officer Polidor and another responding officer to inform them about the situation. However, Officer Dukes' account was far from truthful. He claimed that when Mr. Gillard walked in front of the SUV, he believed Mr. Gillard was carrying a gun and repeatedly instructed him to drop it. Officer Dukes made further allegations claiming Mr. Gillard had his hands in his pockets and repeatedly ignored requests to show his hands. However, the body camera footage once again contradicted Officer Dukes' statements.
He was in front of the car when I came up, and he was walking like this. And I thought it was a gun at first. I said, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun. I had him at gunpoint.
Clearly showing Mr. Gillard complying with the orders by keeping his hands raised above his head. Officer Dukes mentioned to a fellow officer that he wanted to take the stick as evidence, stating that it was the reason for his actions. In response, the fellow officer promptly questioned the necessity of using the stick as evidence, pointing out that the body camera footage would suffice. EMS arrived at the scene to attend to Mr. Gallard's condition. While Mr. Gallard was being examined, Mr. Julian approached Officer Dukes and requested a card with his details on it. In response, Officer Dukes promptly informed Mr. Julian that he did not possess a card and clarified that the department did not issue such cards in any case. Officer Polidor quickly recognized Officer Duke's misstatement and promptly corrected him. She asserted that they indeed possessed cards and proceeded to provide Mr. Julian with her own cards as requested. On July 31, 2022, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division announced that Officer Dukes was taken into custody and charged with first-degree assault and battery. Several months later, in November 2021, Mr. Gallard received a compensation settlement of $650,000 from Orangeburg, South Carolina. City officials additionally expressed their commitment to establishing a citizens task force to provide oversight and guidance regarding interactions between residents and the Orangeburg police.
It's quite unsafe for a woman to live in this world. The crimes against them are increasing day by day. They depend on and truly believe the cops to save their lives. But what if the same cops become the predator? Do you think there are perverts in the police department? Are they more dangerous than the criminals? On number 3, we have Braulio Gonzalez.
On the wrong side of the law, accused of a despicable crime.
This veteran officer allegedly fondled a little girl, and that child is no stranger to him.
Braulio was a resident of Miami, Dade, and was a veteran police lieutenant. The heinous act took place in 2018 when he kidnapped and molested a child. The survivor was a child who was related to him. He took advantage of their family relations and molested the girl since she turned 8 years old. He continuously abused her for 2 years. At last, the survivor spoke out, and the real fact of Braulio was revealed. When the survivor was just 8 years old, Gonzalez took his gun and pointed it at her. She was then made to comply with his conditions, and then he kept on molesting her till her parents came back home. He threatened her several times after that to make sure she doesn't utter a word to her parents. The poor child was traumatized and she lived in fear till 2018. When the case was taken to court, it was revealed that Braulio used to take the girl to his home as well and made her strip down all her clothes before him. He then touched her private parts forcefully. Her screams were silenced by that television's volume, and she was mentally broken by this heinous act of this pervert officer. As the case continued in the court, another child came forward, speaking out about what Braulio did to her as well. She survived the perverted act of this veteran officer. He used to creep her out by watching her shower. She was only 9 years old at that time. Braulio showed aggression towards women in general. He attacked 3 of his ex-girlfriends. They all suffered severe physical injury. He used to hit them repeatedly and broke the nose of one of his ex-girlfriends. They all came forward after hearing about the case where he molested a minor. They were all happy that finally the world got to see the real face of Braulio. The acts of Braulio did not suit that of a police officer. He has to treat people with respect and make sure that they are living life safely. But instead, his predator behavior was shown to the minors. He targeted them and molested them for years. He held a 9-year-old girl at gunpoint and molested her brutally. When the decision of the court was declared, everyone was beyond shocked. They never expected Braulio to walk free. Well, he was not fully free, but the court ordered a house arrest that too paid leave from his job. The court turned a blind eye to his wrongdoing. He was overjoyed as he thought that he escaped the prison, but fate had another plan. After a long legal battle, Braulio got the punishment he deserved. He was sentenced to jail. He would serve life in prison. Braulio never expected to receive such a punishment. He thought that he could evade the law of the country and take advantage of many other children. None of his plans worked, and you can see the aggression and disappointment on his face. The prosecution lawyer Natalie Cinder called Braulio a dangerous person, and the world agrees with her. He could hurt a lot of girls if he roamed around freely with the power of a police officer. Braulio never apologized to the survivors. He had no remorse, and he stood there in court being proud of his deeds. He was given several opportunities to apologize, but he refused every single one of them. He didn't want to show that he regrets it. On number 2, we have the Timothy Sadler Jr. Polk County Police Department received a call from a mother of a 9-year-old to file a complaint regarding the inappropriate photos she found in her daughter's phone. The mother was beyond shocked when she found nude photos of a man in her 9-year-old child's phone. She wanted to file a complaint as soon as possible and find out the sender. The Polk County Department didn't have to spend time investigating, as they soon realized that the criminal they were looking for was one of them, but an officer of another department. They couldn't believe that such a person was working for the state to ensure safety. Well, he was not in his right mind and forced a 9-year-old to send her nude photos. What kind of police officer would say such a thing? Sadler met the child on an interactive online game platform. The Wolf was the game they played, and Sankey talked to her in the name of Jade, an 11-year-old kid. The poor child didn't realize the trap she was setting foot on. Sadler planned to get nude photos from her and threaten her to meet with him for a sexual encounter. He made a detailed plan step by step, and he just needed to work it out. He created multiple accounts and names to talk with the child and earn her trust. Apart from Jade, Sadler created a profile pretending to be a 31-year-old Jason. He talked to the child, introducing him as a close friend of Jade's father. The child believed him, as Jade confirmed that it was her dad's close friend. The child didn't know that behind the screen, it was Sadler who talked to her and not Jade or Jason. Both these people were creations of Sadler, and they didn't exist in real life. Sadler slowly started grooming the girl. He talked through the account of Jade and told the girl that she has a sexual relationship with Jason, and it's fun. The girl was uncomfortable at first, but believed the 11-year-old Jade. He started sending pornographic images to the girl from the account of Jason and started talking to get in a sexually explicit way. He thought that she would soon fall into the trap and meet up with him. The 9-year-old survivor started sending her nude photos, and Sadler was happy to see her falling prey to him. He stored all the images to use against her in the future. During this time, he was going to his office and acting as a good police officer. No one suspected him, and everyone believed him to be this ideal man. They were all unaware of what he does behind his bedroom walls. The 9-year-old child's older sister found out about the sexually explicit texts and pornographic images Sadler sent her. She informed her mother. She called the police immediately. Sadler was arrested and fired from his job immediately. On number 1, we have Trevor Smith. Trevor Smith was working in the Washington State Patrol. He fell for the sting operation and was caught red-handed. In 2022, Trevor was looking for new prey. That's when he met a mother of 2 who was ready to go into an agreement with Trevor for him to have sex with her 2 children, who were only 6 and 11 years old. Trevor was so happy, as he thought he would get 2 children to sleep with that too, with their mother's consent. The undercover female officer, who pretended to be the woman selling her kids, realized that Trevor was a pedophile. The Seattle Police Department wanted to catch pedophiles, and they made the undercover police officer place an ad. Trevor was interested in it and contacted the mother without knowing that it was a sting operation. During the conversation, the undercover police officer asked what he would give her in exchange for abusing her 2 children, to which Trevor replied that she could sexually abuse his 9-month-old son. The police department was shocked to read the text, as they can imagine all Trevor would have exchanged for his son. He was unfit to be a father and shows no mercy to his child. Trevor showed up in a hotel room, and the undercover police arranged for him, as he thought he would sexually abuse 2 children. He even came to the room with contraceptives, which shows that he was prepared to sexually attack 6 and 11-year-old children. Trevor was fired from his job and was sentenced to 10 years in prison, after which he would be released, but he will be under the supervision of the police for 15 years. Do you think this kind of police officer should be declared unfit for service? Should they be punished brutally? Let us know in the comments.